The first morning Riku stayed over felt like someone else's life. Not his. Not Aki's. Just borrowed. Aki stood by the kitchen counter, 2 mugs in hand, trying to steady his grip. He could still hear Riku's soft breathing from the bedroom, slow, heavy, like the weight of leaving someone hadn't quite left his lungs yet. The guest toothbrush was still unopened. Riku had used his finger last night. They hadn't talked about it. Aki's phone buzzed with a text. He didn't check it. He already knew it was his sister, or maybe Daichi, asking again, "Are you really okay with this?" He wasn't. Not fully. But he was also in too deep to pull away now. Riku emerged from the hallway shirtless, hair a mess, sleep still clinging to his eyes. He looked beautiful, like heartbreak dressed in skin. "You're up early," he said, voice low and warm, reaching for one of the mugs. "I made coffee," Aki murmured, handing him the other one. "A beet." Riku took a sip. "Thanks." Silence. They stood in the kitchen like they were pretending to be normal. Like this was a soft, slow morning between 2 people in love, not the messy aftermath of a choice that shattered 3 hearts. Aki glanced at the hallway, the door to his bedroom still open. And he saw it. A silver ring. Still sitting on the nightstand. His chest tightened. "You forgot something," Aki said, voice light, too light. Riku turned. Followed his gaze. And said nothing. He didn't rush to pick it up. He didn't explain. He just stood there, mug in hand, jaw tight. "Do you," Aki started, then stopped himself. "Do you want to put it away or?" "It's just a ring," Riku replied, but there was a sharpness under his tone, like he was trying to convince himself of something. Aki tried to smile. It didn't quite reach his eyes. "Sure." They didn't talk about it. Riku didn't move it. And somehow, that said everything. That night, when Riku kissed him, Aki kissed back. Harder than he meant to. He needed to feel chosen. Needed to feel like he wasn't just a stop between endings. But when Riku whispered, "I love you," against his neck, Aki couldn't say it back. Not because he didn't feel it. But because he didn't believe it would last. The first time Aki kissed Riku, it was raining. Not the dramatic kind of rain you see in movies, just that soft drizzle that clings to your skin like regret. They'd stayed late at the design studio, going over layouts for a shared client. Riku had leaned over Aki's laptop, their shoulders brushing, warm and unspoken. Aki had laughed at something small, he didn't even remember what. But he remembered the way Riku looked at him after. Quiet. Intense. That look didn't belong to a married man. And still, Aki leaned in. Their lips met like it wasn't a mistake. Like it had been waiting to happen. He remembered pulling away too fast. "I'm sorry." But Riku didn't move. He just looked at him and said, softly, "Don't be." Now, weeks later, Aki lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The ring was still on the nightstand. Riku hadn't worn it. But he hadn't hidden it either. Aki hated that he noticed. Hated that he cared. Riku stirred beside him, one arm draped over Aki's waist like instinct. "You're quiet," Riku murmured, eyes still half closed. "I'm always quiet," Aki said. "You're thinking quiet." A pause. Aki swallowed. "Do you miss him?" Riku's breath caught. Then, sometimes. But not the way you think. "What way do I think?" "Like I want to go back." Aki didn't say anything. Riku leaned closer, his fingers brushing Aki's wrist. "You think I'll leave you the same way I left him?" Aki's eyes met his. "Will you?" Riku hesitated. And that tiny moment of hesitation, was louder than any answer. Later that afternoon, Aki went to his favorite cafe alone. A soft drizzle had started again, just like that night. He took the corner seat, opened his sketchpad, and tried to draw anything except Riku. That's when the bell over the cafe door rang, and Aki's blood went cold. Standing in the doorway, holding a black umbrella and looking directly at him, was now Riku's ex-husband. Elegant. Calm. Eyes sharp as glass. He walked over and stopped in front of Aki's table. "Mind if I sit?" Now asked, voice cool but unreadable. Aki's pencil froze mid-line. "Do I have a choice?" "No," Now said, sitting across from him without waiting. A beat passed. Then Now leaned in, resting his chin on his hand. "I just want to know one thing," he said. Aki swallowed. "What?" Now's voice was low, lethal. "Was it worth it?" Now stirred his coffee like it had personally offended him. Aki hadn't touched his. The silence between them was so thick it felt like a third person at the table. "I'm not here to fight," Now said finally. "I just wanted to see the face of the man Riku ruined our marriage for." Aki flinched. "We didn't mean for it to happen that way." "That's the thing about cheating," Now said coolly. "It never means to happen." He took a sip, then looked out the window like he couldn't stand to look at Aki any longer. "I was with him for 7 years," he said. "Do you know how long it takes to build a life like that? A routine. A rhythm. A home." Aki didn't answer. There was nothing to say. "He changed when he met you," Now went on. "I felt it. The late nights. The way he smiled less. The distance." Aki stared down at his sketchpad. There was a drawing of Riku on the page, his profile, soft and shadowed. A sketch Aki didn't remember starting. Now's eyes followed the drawing. "You know what hurts the most?" he said, voice suddenly quiet. "He never apologized." Aki finally looked up. "He told me you ended things calmly." "We did. We were civil, polite, mature." Now's jaw clenched. "But not because I forgave him. Because I didn't want to scream at the man I still loved." Aki's heart thudded painfully. Now leaned forward, and his voice was steel. "You took him. Now keep him. Don't let him crawl back when it gets hard." That night, Aki waited for Riku at the apartment. His sketchpad was closed. The ring was still untouched on the nightstand. When Riku finally came through the door, Aki asked, quietly, "Did you see Now today?" Riku froze. "He came to you. He wanted to know if it was worth it." Riku didn't speak. Aki stood, arms crossed. "Is it?" Riku stepped closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't regret choosing you. But I regret the way it happened." Aki's throat tightened. "So do I." And in that moment, something between them cracked, not completely, not yet. But just enough for the cold air to slip in. The apartment felt colder that week. Not in temperature, but in the way Riku kissed Aki's forehead instead of his lips. In the way his phone buzzed and he turned its screen down. In the way Aki caught him staring at the ring again. Aki tried to ignore it. Tried to be patient. But silence can rot things faster than anger ever could. So he left for a walk. Rain again. Because of course. He ended up at the same cafe. His usual corner was taken, so he sat by the window. Ordered tea instead of coffee. Something warm, soft, easier on the nerves. That's when a voice spoke beside him. "Mind if I join you?" Aki looked up, startled. The man was tall, sharp in a quiet way, cheekbones that could cut, a black coat dusted with rain. He had Now's kind of calm, but none of the coldness. "I'm Sora," the man said. "Friend of Now's." Aki tensed. "I'm not here to cause drama," Sora said quickly, sliding into the seat opposite him. "Just curious." "About what?" Sora tilted his head. "About you." The man Riku left everything for. Aki wanted to snap, I didn't ask him to. But instead, he looked away. Sora's eyes softened. You look like someone who's been chosen, and still feels second. That hit too close. I'm sorry, Aki said stiffly. I don't really want to talk about it. Then let's not. Sora leaned back. We can talk about anything else. Art. Music. Why cafes always play sad indie music when it rains? Aki blinked. Then let out a quiet laugh. They talked. Not much. But enough to feel lighter. Sora had a dry sense of humor, a voice that made things sound safe. Easy. When Aki got up to leave, Sora stood too. If you ever want to talk again, about nothing or everything, I'm around, he said, handing over a card. Aki took it. Later that night, Riku came home late. Wet coat, tired eyes, kisses that didn't linger. Aki lay beside him in bed, wide awake. He kept Sora's card in the drawer. He didn't mean anything by it. But he didn't throw it away, either. Riku noticed the card first. It slipped from Aki's sketchbook while he was flipping pages, looking for an old drawing. He picked it up casually, until he read the name. Sora Kajiwara. Riku's expression shifted. Not a full frown. But something sharpened at the edges. Who's this? He asked, holding it out. Aki froze. A friend of Nao's, he said slowly. We ran into each other. He just talked. That's all. Riku raised a brow. You don't keep just talk in your drawer. Aki's voice went soft. We haven't exactly been talking much lately. That landed like a slap. Riku looked away, lips pressed tight. Aki added quickly, I didn't do anything. I didn't say you did. But you're thinking it. Riku didn't answer. That silence again. The kind that eats you alive. The next night, Aki didn't come straight home. He walked instead, through the city, past glowing signs and shops closing down. He ended up in a bookstore with creaky floors and soft lighting. And somehow, Sora was there. I figured you'd show up eventually, Sora said, not even looking surprised. Aki didn't smile. I shouldn't be here. You're not doing anything wrong. Sora tilted his head. Unless you want to be. That made Aki flush. He turned to leave. But Sora caught his wrist gently. Hey. I'm not here to make things worse. Just. If he ever makes you feel like you're not enough, remember this. A pause. Sora's voice dropped. Someone else already sees everything he's taking for granted. He let go. Aki left without another word. When he got home, Riku was waiting by the window. He didn't ask where Aki had been. Didn't say anything. But when he pulled Aki into a kiss, it wasn't slow or soft. It was possessive. Desperate. The kind of kiss that says I feel you slipping. And when Riku leaned in, breathing heavy, he whispered. You smell like someone else's cologne. Aki didn't answer. Riku's voice still echoed in the room, you smell like someone else's cologne. Aki opened his mouth, then shut it again. Riku stepped back, jaw clenched, eyes stormy. Are you sleeping with him? He asked. The words hit harder than Aki expected, not because they weren't coming, but because they sounded so cold out loud. No, Aki snapped. But I thought about it. Silence. You want honesty? Aki said, voice shaking. There it is. I thought about what it would feel like to be wanted without being a secret. Without being a shadow in someone's past. Riku's hands curled into fists at his sides. You think that's what you are to me? He whispered. A shadow? Aki laughed bitterly. You don't talk about him. You don't throw away the ring. You don't even say my name when we F. He didn't get to finish. Riku grabbed him. Crushed their mouths together in a kiss that was all teeth and heat, and don't you dare finish that sentence. They stumbled backward toward the bedroom, hands pulling, shirts being yanked off, skin against skin. It wasn't soft this time. It wasn't tender. It was hungry. Desperate. Like two people trying to forget every word they just said. After, Aki lay curled on his side, bare back facing Riku. Riku reached out, fingers brushing Aki's spine. I don't want anyone else touching you. Aki's voice was quiet. Then stop making me feel like someone else already has. Riku didn't sleep. He stayed propped up against the headboard, watching Aki's back rise and fall in the dark. His fingers hovered above Aki's shoulder, like he wanted to touch but didn't think he had the right anymore. Aki had said something last night, soft, tired, but brutal, then stop making me feel like someone else already has. And the thing that killed Riku the most? He wasn't wrong. Morning came slow. Aki moved quietly around the apartment, not saying much. Riku hated that he'd gotten used to silence. Hated that when Aki smiled, it felt like muscle memory, not warmth. I'm working late tonight, Aki said, not quite meeting his eyes. You always say that when you need space. Aki paused. Then take the hint. Riku didn't go home after work. He went to Nao's apartment. The door opened before he knocked. Nao stood there with a wine glass in hand, looking like he'd expected this. I figured it wouldn't take long, Nao said, stepping aside. You only show up when things fall apart. Riku stepped in, rubbing the back of his neck. I didn't come here to fight. No, Nao said, eyes sharp, but you didn't come to fix anything either. A pause. I saw him, you know, Nao added. You're Aki. He looked like he was holding a storm behind his eyes. Riku sat on the couch slowly. I don't know how to be with someone without ruining it. Nao let out a soft, bitter laugh. Then don't ruin him like you ruined me. That night, Aki didn't go home either. He ended up at a gallery opening Sora had invited him to. He almost didn't go. But he needed air. Distance. A reminder that he was still his own person. Sora found him by a painting of two faceless figures tangled in red thread. Looks like you, Sora murmured. Tied to something you can't walk away from. Aki smiled, tired. You always talk like you've already read the ending. Sora tilted his head. Maybe I just recognize heartbreak when I see it. Later, in a quiet corner behind the gallery, Sora leaned in a little too close. His voice low. Tell me to stop. Aki didn't move. Breath shallow. Heart loud. Then, he stepped back. I can't, Aki said. Even when I want to. Sora didn't push. But his eyes said everything, you will. Eventually. At 2 a.m. Aki walked into the apartment. Riku was sitting on the couch, still dressed. He looked up slowly. You didn't come home. Aki swallowed. Neither did you. Riku stood. Crossed the room in 2 steps. And when he kissed Aki this time, it wasn't desperate. It was pleading. I left him for you, Riku whispered, mouth against Aki's. Don't make me regret it. Riku's kiss lingered, longer than it should have. But it felt like habit now. A ritual between arguments, a desperate thing to fill the cracks. Aki didn't pull away. But he didn't lean in, either. They didn't talk that night. They undressed each other like they were trying to remember why they'd chosen this. Why they were still here. Riku's touch was familiar. Slow. Tracing old lines. But Aki's eyes weren't on him. They were on the ceiling. Wishing he could forget the way Sora had almost kissed him. The next morning, Aki stood under the shower for longer than usual. Water pouring down, fingers pressed to the tile, like it might wash the guilt away. When he stepped out, Riku was there, towels slung low on his hips, holding Aki's sketchbook. I saw the new pages, Riku said quietly. You drew him. Aki's blood turned cold. Sora. A full page. Sharp jaw. Kind eyes. That slight smirk. Aki had forgotten to tear it out. I was just trying to clear my head. Riku didn't yell. Didn't accuse. But his eyes said everything. You always draw the things you can't say out loud, he whispered. That night, Riku didn't come home. Aki didn't text. Neither one broke the silence. Meanwhile, Sora texted, "Are you okay?" Aki didn't respond. He just stared at the message. And then at the ring still sitting on the nightstand. The one Riku wouldn't wear. The one he still wouldn't throw away. His fingers hovered over his phone. Then he typed, "I need someone to talk to." Send. Hours later, Aki was sitting on Sora's couch. Rain streaked the windows. Everything felt too quiet. Too fragile. "I'm not trying to steal you," Sora said, pouring tea. "I know. But I won't lie, I wish I'd met you before he did." Aki looked down. Sora stepped closer. His voice dropped, gentle but firm. "If you wanted to be loved right, Aki, you should have picked someone whole." Aki looked up, and the distance between them disappeared in an instant. He didn't move. Didn't kiss back. But he didn't stop Sora's lips from brushing his. Just once. Soft. Sharp. Regretful. And when Aki left later that night, nothing had happened. Not really. But it felt like a line had been crossed all the same. Riku came home at 3 a.m. He didn't stumble. Didn't reek of alcohol. But something in his expression was off, calm, too calm. Like someone who already knew the worst and was just waiting to hear it from you. Aki was still awake, curled on the couch with the TV muted. Their eyes met. No words. Not yet. Riku dropped his keys on the table. Quiet. Purposeful. Then said, "Were you with him?" The air thinned. Aki could lie. Could say it didn't mean anything. Could deny the kiss that barely happened. But he didn't. Yes. Riku didn't flinch. He just looked. Tired. "Did you sleep with him?" "No," a pause. "But I let it get close." Still no yelling. No dramatics. Just Riku walking to the kitchen, pouring water like they were discussing the weather. Then. "Tell me the truth. All of it. So I know what I'm forgiving you for." Aki stood slowly. "I felt alone. I felt like I was fighting to matter in a relationship where your past has more space than I do. I don't want to compete with a ghost, Riku. But I think I've been doing that since the day I fell for you." Riku's jaw clenched. "You think I don't love you? I think you love me wrong." They didn't speak for a while after that. But that night, they still ended up in bed, arms around each other like drowning men clinging to driftwood. Needing warmth, even if it was laced with pain. And when Riku moved over Aki, it wasn't soft this time. It was rough. Hands gripping too hard. Mouth fierce. It was messy. Cathartic. Like they were both trying to punish themselves for not knowing how to fix this. And Aki let him. Because maybe pain was the closest thing they had left to proof they still felt something. After, Riku whispered in the dark, "You don't have to stay." Aki didn't answer. Because the truth was, he wasn't sure if he still could. Riku didn't sleep that night. He watched Aki's back rise and fall, same way he used to watch Nao's. The ache in his chest felt too familiar. Like history repeating itself, only this time, he was the one being left behind. Morning light spilled into the apartment, soft and gray. Aki was still under the blanket when Riku pulled a chair into the bedroom and sat down across from him. "I want to tell you about Nao." Aki blinked, surprised. You never talk about him. I know. Riku's voice cracked. Because every time I tried, I felt like I was betraying you. Or him. Or both. A pause. Then he began. He was the first person I ever loved. The first person who saw through all the crap, who didn't care that I was angry or messed up or too cold to hold some days. And I loved him like it would fix me. But it didn't. He got tired of trying to fill holes I refused to admit were there. Aki listened. Quiet. Still. I cheated on him once, Riku said, eyes down. Not with someone I cared about. Just. Because I was scared. Because it felt easier to ruin it than wait for him to leave. A pause. Bitter. He didn't find out until months later. He forgave me. Stayed, but I never forgave myself. We fell apart slowly. Like rot under the floorboards. Aki's voice came out hoarse. Did you ever stop loving him? Riku looked up. No. I just started loving you, too. The silence that followed was the kind that settled in bones. Aki sat up, blanket clutched around his waist. His voice was soft. You think I hate you for still loving him? Riku nodded. But I don't, Aki whispered. I hate that you won't let me in enough to be the one who helps you move past it. Riku swallowed. I don't know how. That night, Aki didn't go to Sora's. He didn't answer his texts. He just sat at the foot of the bed, sketching, lines sharp and chaotic. A storm building in black and red ink. And Riku stood behind him, not touching, not speaking, just watching. Because for the first time since this all began, they weren't avoiding the truth anymore. Aki didn't go home that night. He told Riku he needed space. Riku nodded, didn't argue, didn't beg. Just said, I'll wait. And that made it worse somehow. Because Aki wasn't sure he wanted him to wait anymore. He ended up at Sora's door again. Same warm apartment. Same quiet music playing low. Same soft look in Sora's eyes that made it too easy to forget how complicated this was. I'm not here to make a mistake, Aki said. Sora handed him a drink. You say that like loving someone else would be one. Aki flinched. I didn't say I love you. You didn't have to, Sora said quietly. You come to me every time he breaks you. Aki didn't deny it. He just sat on the couch, drink untouched, fingers clenched. I don't know how to stop loving him, Aki whispered. I'm not asking you to, Sora replied. But I won't keep pretending I'm just your safe place. A beat. Because I'm not safe either. Later, it was raining again. Of course it was. Aki stood at the window, watching the streets blur. Sora came up behind him, slow, deliberate. Not touching. I don't want to be your rebound, Sora said. But I won't lie, every time you're here, I wish you were choosing me. Silence. And then, softly, you keep waiting for him to choose you, Aki. But I'm already here. Aki turned. And this time, he kissed him first. It wasn't fire. It wasn't wild. It was slow. Gentle. Mouths pressing like a question. Fingers sliding under his shirt, not to take, just to feel. And it lasted just long enough to make Aki forget where the line was. Until he pulled away. Breathless. Heart crashing. I'm sorry, he said. I still don't know what I want. Sora just nodded. Eyes tired. Sad. Honest. I do. Meanwhile, Riku sat alone in their apartment. He stared at the sketch Aki left behind, two figures, back to back, tied at the wrists with a broken thread. Aki stood outside the apartment door for a long time. Key in hand. Heart somewhere else. Behind him was Sora. Safe. Steady. willing. But here, inside this place, was Riku. Unfixed. Flawed. Still learning how to love without bleeding on everything. He opened the door. Riku looked up from the floor, where he sat cross-legged in the dark, surrounded by torn pieces of paper. Sketches. Notes. Old photos. All of them scattered like a storm had passed through. I was going to throw them away, Riku said quietly. All the pieces of who I used to be. Aki didn't speak. I kept thinking if I erased him, maybe I'd finally deserve you. Aki stepped closer. You don't have to erase him. You just have to stop disappearing into the space he left behind. Riku looked up. Eyes red. Voice trembling. Are you still mine? Aki didn't answer. Not with words. He knelt. Reached for Riku's hand. And held it like it was something sacred. I don't want to be someone you hold on to because you're afraid to fall apart alone. I'm not, Riku whispered. I'm holding on because I want to rebuild, with you. They didn't kiss right away. They just sat there, forehead to forehead, letting the silence say everything they hadn't been brave enough to before. Later, in the low light of the bedroom, they found each other again, not to forget, but to forgive. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. But it was real. The next day, Aki texted Sora. Thank you. For being there when I needed someone. But I think I need to try one last time, with him. I hope you find someone who chooses you first. I wish it had been me. Sora never replied. But Aki knew he'd read it. And maybe one day, this story will fade. Maybe the pain will soften into memory, the way all love eventually does. But for now, this was the moment they chose to stay. To try. To rebuild the house they once burned down with their own hands.